and 102.9 FM on K275BS Missoula. It's time for Montana's only daily sports talk show, Nuanez Now. Watch the show statewide on SWX Montana Television.
I like football!
Now here's your host, Coulter Nuanez.
Man, we got some good stuff coming up for you guys this week. I feel like I've already done 3 shows today because we've been trying to stack it all up. I've been talking nothing but football all day long, which is certainly fun. And, well, it's because we got the Grizz spring game coming up on Friday. And I'm trying to pre-record some stuff. We got big ordeal coming up here at Missoula Broadcast Company. Welcome in Nuanez Now, by the way. Coming to you through the Grizzly Disposal Studio here at the Missoula Broadcasting Company. Grizzly Disposal Studio and the Missoula Broadcasting Company studio getting some revamps. We're getting some new flooring put in. That's going on Friday throughout the weekend. So we got to be out of the studio by lunchtime. Meaning, but we didn't want to leave you hanging. We wanted to have a show on Friday. So we will have a full show on Friday. I'm almost complete with recording it, but I needed to do all that today because then my wife's going on a trip, so I'm doing solo dad, so it's all these moving parts. The fact of the matter is I recorded almost 2 hours worth of content for you with Samuel Kim. We'll play some of that tomorrow and some of that on Friday. Plenty of insight and analysis of what could, might, and has been going on with Grizz football leading up to the spring game. We'll talk some Grizz and Bobcat Pro Day and some other Bobcat spring ball storylines. Also, I've never done this before, which is crazy to say. Interviewed both coordinators for the Grizz football team earlier today. We got Brent Pease early on, but we had not had a one-on-one with either of the coordinators, and lo and behold, boom, they gave them to us both in one day. So we'll play that for you on tomorrow's ESPN Roundtable. And then I spent a bunch of other time just getting into some of the ins and outs of recruiting that's going on right now across the state of Montana. So it's all to say that Wednesday, Thursday, Friday shows are going to have tons of fun football talk with some fun guests for you. We're also going to have some Grizz softball. Jeff Safford's headed down to the, or I guess he's having a call in. But either way, he's catching up with Grizz softball later on this week. And we'll also have Carol, the Chicken Doesn't Know Sports, coming up. So a lot of fun stuff coming your way. But today, we focus on now the end of the college basketball season after last night's completely clunky and totally brutal brick fest that resulted in Michigan winning the national championship. Also, it's National Portal Day. What the heck does that mean? Well, all these entries that you've heard about of young ladies, young men going into the NCAA transfer portal for basketball. It's not actually officially official till today. The portal opens today. Within the blink of an eye, 1,900 men's basketball players immediately into the portal. That number is going to, I don't even know what, double at least, probably. Let's talk about that. We'll also talk about the recruiting battle that continues to rage on in-state. Huge one for the Grizz in football with the commitment of Drew Olmquist over the weekend. He's a Helena Capital junior. He is widely considered the fastest of the skill guys in the state of Montana. He's got some FBS offers, but he committed to the Grizz over the weekend. So we'll talk about that, plus Dax Yeager from Shodo committing. He's gotten some lofty comparisons because of his athletic upside. He's about 6'5", 235 pounds. They list him as a tight end right now. I think he could be everything from a tight end to a defensive end to maybe even an offensive tackle. So a lot of upside for the stud athlete from Shodo. He committed to the Cats, so that's sort of the first strike back for MSU. MSU still recruiting hard a lot of the other guys in the state that don't have those direct Grizz ties. Grizz have done a great job of getting through and getting the 3 guys in Missoula. Then Cooper Pelk, the best guy up in Kalispell. And then Olmquist is a big one because Helena's a swing city with a lot of Bobcat and Grizz supporters there. Well, Montana State's still sort of in the mix here, even if Montana's dominated early on here in March and into early April. So we'll talk about all of that. We also have our latest Treasure State Stars with some of the best individual performances, track-heavy Treasure State Stars coming up here about 4:30. And that's all just here in hour number one. Hour number two, we'll keep on talking Grizz spring ball, Grizz spring game. We'll talk a little special teams today because I think that's a huge concern. And then we'll have a fun guest coming up about 5:15. Good friend of mine, guy that I grew up with, guy that I played baseball with when I was a kid. He's now one of the pros up at the Iron Horse Country Club up there in the Flathead Valley. He also puts on a Masters pool that I participated in forever, and he just knows a ton about golf. So Marcus Gear will be our guest. He's he's said that, hey, we should chop it up about the Masters on your radio show one of these days. And I've always said, I mean, yeah, why not? You know a ton about pro golf. You're an expert when it comes to this stuff. You are a golf pro yourself. But then he happens to be in Missoula today. Lives up there, obviously, for when he's working, but he's going to be in Missoula today. So we will catch up with him and go through some of the ins and outs. Have no fear. One of your fan favorites, Andrew Schmidt, will return for his annual appearance here on the Masters. He's been doing that with us for, 4, 5, 6 years. And that'll be on Thursday. So get a double dip. You get 2 Masters guests. And maybe that'll help you hone in on your picks here with the Masters getting underway today with the practice rounds and then officially getting underway on Thursday. Looking forward to it, as always. One of the great sporting events that we have in America. And, there's a lot of rich storylines. Can Rory repeat? Is Scotty Scheffler still the favorite? Who else might be in the mix? That's all coming up in the second hour here on Nuanez Now. And if we have some time, we might even touch on the NBA as well. I've been not really avoiding, but the NBA has not been a huge part of this show this year. There's a lot of reasons for that. But we are coming down the stretch. We will have a lot of NBA playoffs talk. So we'll give you an update on what's going on in the standings either today or tomorrow, depending on when we might be able to fit it in. So there you go. That's what's coming up. 1029ESPN.com. If you want to stream it, you can also always use the ESPN MT app. You can also always use Facebook and YouTube and Twitch. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel and subscribe to our Nuanez Now podcast. It really helps us in a variety of different fashions. So rate, review, subscribe, all that good stuff. If you want to be a part of the show, you always can. 406-888-1029. That's 406-888-1029. Call it, text it, let us know what you want us to talk about. You got any questions, concerns, comments, all that good stuff, hit us up. And we'll love to have you be a part of the show. So last night it all went down with Michigan looking like the Goliaths that they are. They called themselves the Monstars, and it's a good nickname. It's a homage to the Michael Jordan Space Jam movie. The Monstars were these freakish aliens from outer space, basically, and they were just a dominant team that it took a collection of humanoid all-stars led by Michael Jordan to go and defeat them, right? And nobody defeated Michigan, at least not in the postseason. So just how physically formidable Michigan is certainly played out. That came to fruition. When I say it was a clunky, sort of hot garbage type of game, the shooting was abysmal. It's actually like hard to watch. You could say, well, last night's game, the final score is 69-63. You could say, well, last night's game is for people that like defense. No, last night's game is for people that like teams that shoot absolutely terrible partially because of just the pressure of the moment, but also because of the venue that they're playing in. This was in Indianapolis. I ran on this rant yesterday. I'll try to keep it brief because I know we have a lot of people that are loyal listeners that heard my 2 cents on this yesterday. But the fact that the Final Four was played at Lucas Oil Stadium, which holds over 80,000 people and is a football stadium, it's the Indianapolis Colts Stadium, it is conducive to selling a ton of tickets and having an unbelievable event. And don't get me wrong, the stadium is awesome. I've been there. I've watched multiple games there, basketball and football. It is not a good basketball arena, as are most of the basketball arenas, the football arenas that host these basketball games. Last night, Michigan shot 13% from three and won. These teams actually shot a little bit better down the stretch, but at one point they were shooting a combined 17% from three. If that would have held, it would have been the all-time record for the lowest three-point percentage in the history of an NCAA title game or I think a Final Four game. The end of the docket was 11 of 48 from three. So you're still talking, even if that's better than 17%, but not that much. 23% from three combined, and that's with UConn pouring it on a little bit late. Had a couple guys hit a couple was there as they were trying to make a comeback. It's the last I'll say of it for now. I know I probably sound like a broken record. You got to play these things in basketball arenas. You can't play them in football arenas. I thought last night was, again, if you say, well, this is all about defense, no, this was all about a whole bunch of guys just missing shots. It's not appealing basketball. I thought the basketball looked great and improved during the first 5 rounds of this tournament. The first 4 rounds leading up to the Final Four. Last 2 rounds, not good. It's not what you want for your game. When I'm sitting here talking about how much better I think the basketball is because the rosters have more continuity and the best teams, the best programs have just continued to get better in this transfer portal NIL era. When I say those sort of things, and then if you hadn't watched any of the games and then you turned it on last night, you're probably sitting there thinking, woof, what is Coulter talking about? That said, Michigan did get it done. A dominant performance throughout this tournament. Even if UConn figured out a way to backdoor cover last night, I thought Michigan was going to win by double digits. The fact that UConn actually was able to get it down to 6, respectable. But either way, the Wolverines hanging their first national championship banner since 1989. First in 37 years, which is pretty stunning when you think about it. That was the 8th time they've played the title game, but they had lost their previous 5 title game appearances. You think about all those teams in the 90s, the Fab Four and those teams. You think about the 2010s teams that went all the way to the chipper, like that team that beat the Grizz in the first round of the tournament. That team played for the national championship, but they lost. Michigan's been knocking on the door, but they actually kicked the door down. What does it all mean for college basketball? On the surface level, there's nothing stunning about Michigan, one of the top blue blood athletic departments in the country, winning the national championship. There's nothing crazy about that. But then when you think about it, I don't know if it's crazy. I think it's more just sort of predictive of what what the future might hold. You have a team that its starting lineup was completely transfers. All 5 guys that started in the game last night were transfers. Not that long ago, less than a year ago, Jackson Lindenberg was about to go pro out of UAB. He was projected as a top 20 pick, but this is where college basketball has most fundamentally changed. A guy out of a mid-major Conference USA school like UAB that's projected as a top 20 pick, every single draft for the last 50 years has said, I'm going to go and declare for the draft. Maybe I can get in the lottery, but if I'm a projected top 20 pick, I'm taking that money. Lindenberg was a senior. You're saying I'm going pro. Well, instead, Dusty May talks Lindenberg into transferring to Michigan, and lo and behold, he becomes the Big Ten Player of the Year, all while making a 7-figure salary. So this guy is basically an NBA player, but not an NBA player because he's playing for the University of Michigan. Well, that was one of the many dominoes that Michigan had fall into place. But you look at the rest of their roster, I mean, Elliot Cadeau, who was the Final Four most valuable player, he started his career at North Carolina. Morez Johnson Jr., the guy with the crazy hairdo with the multiple ponytail, pigtails, whatever you want to call it, he started his career at Illinois. Ade Mara, the 7'3" dude that anchored the middle for Michigan, he started his career at UCLA. Those 4 are a pretty formidable foursome. Lindenberg, Cadeau, Johnson, and Mara. and that really helped lead the way. So when I say this is maybe predictive of things to come, well, I think it shows you a few things. I think it shows you, first of all, what happens if you have a coach that's really good at helping talent coalesce. That's what Michigan's got in Dusty May. I think it's also very indicative of how you can just stack a team of Monstars and roll the ball out there and see what happens. I thought this quote was stunning. Mara said, I would just say the freedom that Dusty May has, that we have as players in Coach May's system, the confidence that he gives us, it's probably one of the keys. We don't have sets or plays. We just hoop. So it's easier like that to create, to play your game. I have said for so long that I think Division I basketball is overcoached. You don't need to run a set all the time. You got to have some free-flowing nature to the game. I mean, they run a ton of sets and concepts in the NBA, no question, but they also get up and down, create ISO. Every 24 seconds you have a change of possession, so it's a lot more fluid of a game. You just saw that with Michigan. They even though they didn't shoot the ball tremendously well last night, 38%, which is certainly better than 31% the UConn shot. They found a way to get it done. You can tell that their players play off of each other's energy. They have an aura of confidence and domination that's pretty rare for a college team. And, I think we'd be saying similar things if a multitude of other teams would have won this thing, right? It's not just Michigan's not the only team that's going transfer heavy. They're not the only team that has a up-and-coming coach. At this point, you can't even say Dusty May is up-and-coming. He is one of the kings of the game right now. He just won a national championship. He had the epic run at Florida Atlantic that helped him earn the Michigan job. And then in year 2 at Michigan, he puts together one of the great teams in the history of the school. There's other schools that have those advantages. We would be saying sort of similar things about Arizona or Kentucky or Duke or maybe not Houston, because I don't know if they necessarily have the payroll. They got the veteran old school coach in Kelvin Sampson. They got an identity which takes you far. But I can't sit here and say Michigan won the national championship because Michigan is Michigan and Michigan has the most money. Michigan certainly has a lot of money. Michigan certainly spent a lot of money on its roster. Lenderberg would have gone to the NBA if it wasn't for the money that Michigan had. So I'm not saying it's not about money, but Kentucky spent more money than Michigan. Kentucky didn't even make it to the Sweet 16. Arizona spent just as much money as Michigan. Michigan wrecked Arizona in the Final Four. There's a lot of teams, not a lot, but there's multiple handfuls of teams that we'd be saying similar stuff about. That's where Dusty May comes in, though. The fact that it is just like a loose, free-flowing read and react system. You just roll it out there. Here's the thing. Again, I talk about it being overcoached all the time. If you have the ability to build the Monstars like Michigan did, and you can truly have a 7'3" center, 3 6'9" guys around him, and then a steady point guard in Rabideau, all of a sudden you got yourself a squad that nobody can match physically. Then if you just stay out of the way, don't make it too complicated, don't make it clunky, just play. And then if you get into a game like last night where you're playing against an incredibly well-coached team, a team that was ready to roll, that's been in that spot before, a team that, in some ways you could say UConn is the team to beat because they had won 2 of the previous 3 national championships. They've won 6 national championships since 1999. Michigan had won one since 1989. So UConn, you could say in some ways, even though they were not favored on the money line or on the point spread, that UConn was one of the teams to beat. Well, the way you negate that is by having all this free flow and the chemistry and the size and the intimidation like Michigan, but then also by being able to go to a different level defensively than anybody else can get to. And that's what won Michigan the game last night. Johnson, Mara, and Lenderberg, even though he was hurt and hobbling up and down the court, they all played tremendously well on defense. Not a ton of great offense, but on defense, I thought they played tremendously well, and that's how Michigan gets their first national championship in 37 years. It really is going to be interesting, though, to think about how much this continued arms race is going to be impacted by football money. Like, make no mistake, again, Michigan did not spend the most money on their roster of anybody. They were, I think their budget this year was 19th amongst college basketball teams. So, better than 325, but not as much as other. I mean, like NC State has a higher basketball budget. Budget and NIL are different, right? But still, you can just talk about the investment in the program. That said, though, I do think you're going to continue to see the fortification of athletic departments that have revenue streams coming in huge ways. First of all, you have to think that Ohio State's not, they're not going to sit on their hands with Michigan winning a national championship. They're going to triple down and try to get back in the mix as a true Big Ten power. And they got over $250 million worth of football revenue surplus to work with. Kentucky, what are they going to do? What's the future there when you're spending more than anybody else? What's the future status of Mark Pope? If you are spending $20 million on a roster, you have to almost guarantee that team's going to go at least to the Sweet 16, right? You can't be on the ropes against a 10 seed in Santa Clara. Need a prayer to send it to OT to gut out a first-round win and then dip out in the second round if you're Kentucky. But the fact of the matter is that Michigan did it with $10 million in NIL, which is, again, more than most, not even close to as much as some. But here's where you wonder how much the holistic advantages of the athletic department come in. Because Dusty May and Tommy Lloyd at Arizona, two of the Final Four coaches, they were both in the mix at North Carolina. Right, Tommy Lloyd of Arizona, excuse me. Lloyd and May, though, they both were in the mix at North Carolina. They both declined the job. North Carolina's paying both those guys more than what they're getting paid at their schools. They're both getting paid well. Dusty May got a $400,000 bonus last night just for winning that national championship game. He came in with a $4.6 million base. So at the bare minimum, before any of the incentives other than the national championship game won, he's making $5 million plus. Tommy Lloyd's making $7.4 million a year at Arizona. Michael Malone, who just signed up to be the North Carolina coach, the rumor is he got a 5-year, $60 million deal. You're talking about almost twice as much money as Dusty May or Tommy Lloyd. Why those guys turning down North Carolina now, though? Because of the institutional advantages. Like Michigan, if you're Dusty May, you can go out and get those guys. It's not just because of the NIL money you have to offer. It's also because you come to Michigan, you're training in the same facility as a football team that just won the national championship a couple of years ago. You got that same advantages in terms of the training table. You can go to the games at the big house. Yeah, you're talking about all these different systematic advantages. So I just wonder how much that part influences this and how much harder that's going to make it on schools that either prioritize basketball over football. There's only a few of those Power 4 schools left, Kansas being one of them, North Carolina probably being one of them. There's very few of those schools left. But more importantly, I think this is going to make it even harder on the schools that don't have football. Because the football money is what's also influencing these basketball rises. It used to be you get what you emphasize, right? You're either Georgetown or Georgia. You're either Alabama or Marquette. Well, now Alabama can be better than Marquette in basketball because Alabama football makes so much money. So that's where the one thing where I say, well, what happened last night with Michigan winning the national title? I think it does further emphasize that if you have a holistic investment in athletics in general and you let those or different organizations form like a symbiosis that creates an ecosystem in your athletic department, now you can absolutely thrive. And it's not that wasn't true in the past. I just think it's going to become more and more common that you got Michigan being one of the top contenders for the national championship, as say, like Michigan was chasing Duke forever. I think Michigan and Duke are on similar footings now, even though Duke's got 5 national titles since Michigan won its last one, because of all the other parts that go into the appeal for student athletes. Nuanez Now 102.9 ESPN Radio, SWX Montana Television, and the ESPN MT app. Colter Nuanez Coming to you through the Grizzly Disposal Studio. Happy Transfer Portal Day. The Transfer Portal keeps on spinning for the Grizz basketball team. We told you about Grant Kepley and Tyler Isaac coming out of the weekend. Well, then today, as I projected yesterday, Caden Betts, former transfer from Minnesota, who came to Montana by way of Colorado. He's from Colorado, played at Minnesota, transferred to Montana. He was supposed to be a big piece. He's a former four-star guy. That did not manifest itself whatsoever. I mean, I remember him. He hit back-to-back threes against the Cats in Bozeman, and that is the only memory I have of Caden Betts playing for the Grizz this year. Even when he hit those back-to-back shots, he still only played less than 10 minutes in that game. He was hurt for a lot of the year. He was a non-contributor for a lot of the year, so he's moving on. So now when you count them up, you got Tyler Thompson, Kenyon Owino, Connor Dick for sure coming back, and then Courtney Anderson, no news on him yet. He was another one of those incoming transfers who then was out for most of the year, so hardly got a chance to contribute. But if he comes back, those are the four for the Grizz basketball team that are expected to come back. If you've missed our conversations, we've done several about like how we would rebuild the Grizz roster, especially with Money Williams going in the portal, a ball-dominant guy, all these other sort of exterior role player types. You can check those out on the Nuanez Now podcast. But the transfer portal official open today. Lady Grizz side, we reported of the like the half dozen players that were likely going to not be asked back or a mutual parting of ways, whatever you want to say, like whatever verbiage you want to use. We reported basically the six that have been confirmed as Montana wanting them back. Above the ones that were maybe not on that side of being invited back, just three so far have actually entered the portal and expressed desires that they want to go elsewhere. Dreo Acker from Millstone, Idria Lincoln, who's from Western Washington, and Macy Donarski, who's from the Midwest. Those three have entered the portal, so we'll see if they end up anywhere else. Gracie Hintz, Montana State women, she's the lone entry for the Bobcats. And Montana State's men tweeted a graphic last week claiming that they were going to have a perfect retention rate, but then a redshirt freshman who didn't play at all entered the portal today. So we'll find that for you, but I don't know. I don't know if that – when they said that everybody was coming back, I don't know if he was included or not. He was actually a player that I had never really heard of. So I don't know. I'm not saying that they were fibbing or if that changed, but I also think that they might have put that graphic out, and this person was not involved in that whatsoever. So we'll get more clarity on that moving forward. But that's where we're at right now. Most of the Grizz, half the Lady Grizz, one from the Montana State women, and one or none from the Bobcat men into the portal as the portal opens here today on April 7th. Well, it's now ESPN Radio. Thanks to our awesome friends at the Jewelry Design Center. They hooked us up with a $500 gift card for our grand prize winner for our Nuanez Now Bracket Challenge. Here's what we need. We got no ties. We got one winner. T Paget 99. I got you here in the pool. Here you are. We need you to text us, 406-888-1029. Who are you? Like when I click on your name, all I get is you, T Paget 99. That's it. By the way, T Paget 99, who won our Nuanez Now pool, they're in 4,920th place nationally. Pretty good. For me, I mean, shoot, I'm like in 10 millionth place. I'm in 130th just in our Nuanez Now pool. So anyways, when I use the ESPN National website here, when I click on the names, it doesn't give me like your contact information. It just shows me your username again. So I need you to text us, 406-888-1029. You are the winner of a $500 gift card, courtesy of Jewelry Design Center. You're also going to get a hobby box, NHL style, from Zootown Sports Cards. We also got a smattering of other gifts for you as well. Dutch Grizz 81, you get second. Zach's Picks, that's number 3. Those are the 3 winners. We got baseball cards, football cards. We got some gift cards from Tagliari Deli and Desperado Sports Tavern and Grill. DraftWorks. We also got some Shinedown tickets to a concert coming up this summer. But if you are T-Paget 99, Dutch Grizz 81, or Zach's Picks, you got to text the station, 406-888-1029. You got to let us know who you are, so we can get settled up with you. 406-888-1029. Bracket Challenge presented by Jewelry Design Center. Jewelry Design Center, locally owned and operated. They are experts when it comes to making any and all types of jewelry. You can dream it up. You can imagine it. They can build it for you. The craftsmanship and artisanship, second to none. Love getting to know those guys and love getting to work alongside them. We appreciate all of their support of what we got going on here at Missoula Broadcasting Company. Jewelry Design Center, your jeweler for life. Treasure State Stars, track heavy, plus some in-state recruiting. That's all next. Keep it right here, 102.9 ESPN Radio.
DeMorris Buick GMC is ready to help you safely travel Montana's scenic roads in comfort and style. Stop by DeMorris today and test drive some outstanding SUVs. Right now, take advantage of closeout pricing on the uniquely designed and well-equipped 2024 Buick Encore GX with models starting at $28,895. Don't miss this opportunity. Go to demorris.com to preview our inventory of 2024 Buick Encores and then pay a visit to DeMorris Buick GMC on West Broadway in Missoula, your family-owned hometown dealership for over 60 years.
It's easy to see why Montana is the treasure state. At the University of Montana, we look inside. We see an old truth with fresh eyes, that Montana's greatest treasure is its people. So whatever tomorrow brings, we meet it the only way we know how, with a mind for making. Because what's made in Montana is remaking the world.
ESPN Missoula Sports Center.
The transfer portal continued to churn for basketball teams at the University of Montana. I'm Jeff Safford. For the Grizz men's basketball team, starting point guard Grant Kepley is the latest player to enter the portal. He follows first-team all-conference pick Money Williams and reserve spark plug Brooklyn Hicks, who each announced their intentions to enter the portal last week. Kepley, a former transfer from Western Washington, started in 21 of 28 games played. Chase Williams, a seldom-used guard from Iowa, also entered the portal last week. Montana also graduates Tajon Sawyer and Trey Taylor. For the Lady Grizz, ESPN MT reported last month that 6 players have been invited back to the roster entering Nate Harris's second season. All Big Sky forward Avery Waddington, along with Jocelyn Land, Kennedy Gillette, Abby Schubert, Ray Ehrman, and Asa Cosette, have been offered roster spots for next year. Of the players not invited back, Drea Wacker, Macy Duransky, and Audria Lincoln have officially entered the portal. The Montana State women had its first entry over the weekend. Gracie Hintz, whose aunts were Hall of Famers at Montana State in the early 90s, announced her entry over the weekend. She played sparingly as a freshman. The Montana State men's basketball team announced last week that they would retain every returning player on their roster.
This is Nuanez Now on 102.9 ESPN Radio Missoula.
Welcome back. 1029 ESPN Radio, SWX Montana Television, and the ESPN MT app. Colter Nuanez coming to you through the Grizzly Disposal Studio here at the Missoula Broadcasting Company. Grizzly Disposal, locally owned, veteran-owned, and the only Bears that should be in your garbage. Piece of breaking news here. This just hit the docket. Paige Loafing, Huntley Project product. She led Huntley to the Class B state championship 2 years ago. She was a freshman at Gonzaga this last year. Played in 27 games as a true freshman. Had a couple moments. She hit a buzzer beater for the Zags in one of their wins this year, and the Zags were very good. I mean, they went 24-10, 14-4 in the West Coast Conference. They won the league's postseason tournament. But Loafing played just 6.6 minutes per game. She just entered the NCAA transfer portal. This is real spicy because Loafing had a bunch of interest by a lot of different schools coming out of high school. She did take a late recruiting visit to the University of Montana before she committed to Gonzaga. She was on Montana State's radar as well. I efforted Paige Loafing all year last year when she, I guess 2 years ago when she was a senior in high school. I was able to chat with her a little bit, but we were never able to make a time work. And so I cannot profess to know her or know any of her interests at all. All I do know is that there is going to be quite a bit of opportunity for the Lady Grizz. They're coming off of one of the worst seasons in their program's history. I don't know if they're going to even be able to come to be in the realm of close to get Brianna Williams, the great Billings Skyview player who spent the last year at the University of Maryland. Last 2 years, I guess. But now is in the portal. I don't know if they'll be able to be in the mix. I mean, Williams was a top 100 recruit in high school. She had offers from all over the country. She's getting offers from the Big 12 and the ACC right now. So can the Lady Grizz come up with any form of allure to get her to come to Missoula? I have no clue. I would lean no, but if they could, that'd be a pretty big get. I mean, Montana State could be in the mix too. I just don't include Montana State necessarily as much in the luring back because Montana State has such a stacked roster right now, and they didn't have any seniors last year. So they sort of know where they're at with the players that they returned. That said, I mean, Brandon Williams can play with anybody. Loafing, though, I'm unsure. It seemed to me that if Loafing was going, it seemed to me pretty early when she was a Huntley Project that she was probably going to go out of state. She played on a traveling team, and she got some offers. I mean, she was in the mix at Colorado State, Boise State, and then Gonzaga came in a little bit late. And it seemed to me that Boise State and Gonzaga were probably the leading candidates. But if she was going to stay in state, it would have been with the Lady Grizz. I don't know if that's still the case. I don't know if they have an inside track, but I can almost guarantee you that they're going to at least cast a line and try to go after her, because that would be a perfect fit for what the Lady Grizz need. Loafing's great. I mean, she scored over 2,000 points in high school. Holy Projects never won a girls' basketball state championship until Loafing led them to one. Loafing outdueled Madison O'Connor, who I'm really high on. I thought Madison O'Connor was best player in the state this year. Well, when she was a junior, Loafing beat her in the state championship game in Missoula. It was a really, really impressive performance by Loafing. If Montana can go and get her, that would be a huge get. So that's certainly a impactful news brief here today, as one of the best basketball players to come out of the state of Montana recently is into the portal. Nuanez Now 102.9 ESPN Radio. Fisher Brown's another one. He is a young man from Lewistown. He was on that great Lewistown team that also featured Royce Robinson. Royce Robinson got a chance to go to Montana State. That lasted just a brief moment in time. Then Robinson transferred to Rocky Mountain College. Rocky was outstanding this year. They played in the Elite Eight of the NAIA tournament, and Robinson was a key player for them. So you get yet another guy from Montana that maybe is playing at a level that's a little low for him, but is killing it, so you can't blame him for doing it. Well, Fisher Brown was the other guy on those Lewistown teams that really had nice runs. Fisher Brown then he left Lewistown before his senior year, and he went to a prep school academy, the Wasatch Academy down in Utah, and he went there for a year, and that helped him then earn Western Carolina of all places. Well, he's been to Western Carolina, and he recently declared that he is transferring as well. His father played at Montana State. I'm not saying that that's where he's going to go. I'm just saying that that's a connection. It's certainly a connection that certainly I think will have him in the mix. The Bobcats in the mix for his services. But we'll see. We'll see where he ends up. We'll see where Paige Loafing ends up. Well, it's down 129 ESPN Radio. We'll save the recruiting about Drew Almquist and some of the other top recruits from the state of Montana. We'll save that for hour number 2. We'll round out hour number 1, though, with Treasure State Stars and some more talk about the NCAA tournament. And we give you some sandwiches, courtesy of Taglieri Deli. That's all next. Treasure State Stars and a Tag Tuesday. Don't change that dial. Keep it right here. It's 102.9 ESPN Radio.
Les Schwab changed the tire game more than 70 years ago. Today, we still believe you should get more from less. Like more hustle, less hassle. More of the best service around, less of the runaround. Because we include America's best tire warranty in every tire we sell. So you get more unbeatable warranty, less charging you extra. It's why we're more than proud to say, you get more from less.
What do you expect me to say to her? She's getting married in 30 minutes.
We're doing everything we can.
John, can you hear me? John.
Mountain Town Vacation Rental Management, your local partner for vacation rental success. We provide a fully customized hosting experience tailored to your needs and goals. Your home is listed on every major site, helping you maximize visibility and bookings. And our local team is available 24/7 to handle guest needs and booking inquiries. Let us take the stress out of managing your vacation home. Contact us today at mountaintownvrm.com or give us a call at 406-369-3080.
Nuanez Now on ESPN Radio.
Welcome back. 102.9 ESPN Radio, SWX Montana Television, and the ESPN MT app. Colter Nuanez coming to you through the Grizzly Disposal Studio. Jeremiah Shin on campus at the University of Montana. He is not one of the finalists. He is the finalist to become the University of Montana's next president. I'm a little confused at that part of the procedure. Like, I get that. I guess I'm confused and I'm not confused at the same time, right? It seems as if the committee of people that is tasked with hiring the new president of the University of Montana after Seth Bodner, stepped away to run for public office, that committee certainly seems to have honed in on one person who they want to have the job. Why it's not a group of 3 or 5 finalists, I'm unsure. Maybe it's a testament to the efficacy of the committee. So, that's the part I'm confused about is why is it not just several finalists and you have a public forum and gauge public opinion. On the other hand, when they say it's just the finalist, I think the fact that it's the finalists and not just the hire means they are trying to get public engagement. So Shin was on campus yesterday. I'm unsure if he's still around today or not, but he did give an address at the University Center Ballroom. He also delivered remarks and then had a Q&A with attendees, everything from funding cuts to school culture to encouraging students to graduate in 4 years were on the docket. I haven't got a chance to listen to the whole thing. I've just listened to a little bit. But I do think it's going to be an interesting deal because I do think that from the sporting world, as we sit here on ESPN Radio today, a president that at least puts some form of priority on sports is a boon for an athletic department. There's no question. I also think with rural public universities like Montana and Montana State, the notion that it's the front porch of your university, that remains true, and it needs to remain true. Like I think if there was a deprioritization at the University of Montana, I think the University of Montana is a great school. I have a degree from there. I loved my time at UM. I think MSU is a tremendous school as well. I've worked closely with that university for 15 years. But I do think if you had a deprioritization of athletics at either or both of those schools, I think that would be very detrimental to campus life. I think it would be very detrimental to the campus population. So I do think that even if you are not a sports person, if you are just an academic, I think you have to still see some sort of validity and impact that a good to great sports program can have for you in terms of growing enrollment and marketing your university. I'm unsure about Shin's interest in sports. He comes from Boise State. I've talked to a couple of people that do have backgrounds and connections to Boise State. They seemed to think that he is a proponent for sports, but we'll see. I need to have a little bit more conversation about and around Jeremiah Shinn and this presidential search. So maybe we'll follow up on that. That is your other piece of news of the day. Nuanez Now 102.9 ESPN Radio. Let's do it. Treasure State Stars. It's probably presented by Parkside Credit Union. Parkside Credit Union, a great place in western Montana because Parkside Credit Union loves to say yes. Montana State superstar shot put thrower Sydney Brewster. She's been on this show multiple times, and that's because she just keeps on racking up awards and keeps on breaking records. We're only 2 weeks into the outdoor track and field season, and she's the Big Sky Conference Women's Field Athlete of the Week for the second week in a row. She went down to the Stanford Invite, and she competed really, really well for the Bobcats. She recorded a mark of 17 meters. That's 55 feet, 9 1/4 inch. She is, that mark ranks in the top 15 in the country. She has a throw of 56.2 that ranks number 8 in the entire country. So that's about as good as you can do. 2 for 2 for Big Sky Conference Athlete of the Week awards for Montana State shot put thrower Sydney Brewster. Treasure State star number 2, friend of the show, one of our featured guests last spring during track season, William Hollensteiner. He was a insane performer at the state track and field championships last spring for Kalispell Flathead. The dude did everything. In the sprints and the relays, he was the key to Kalispell to Flathead winning the Class AA team championship. Hollensteiner is as impressive of a runner as I've ever seen in Montana. There's been some great ones. He's prodigious in his abilities. And he recently made his college decision. He is heading, first of all, he's an outdoor All-American last summer after his crazy performances at the state meet. He's headed to Purdue. So he's going to be running in the Big Ten. But he's a senior. He's just started his senior year in track. So I just thought that was an interesting note. The guy finished second at Nike Indoor Nationals in the 400 meters in the country, and this is nationals, right? Then he ran a couple of other meets on the national stage for his track club, and performed well as well. His 4x200 meter relay team finished second in the nation as well last March. So he's got some pretty lofty accolades. And, last year at the AA meet, he won the 200 meters, he won the 400 meters, he won the 300 meter hurdles, he ran a leg on the third place short relay team, he ran the anchor leg on the mile relay team. The dude does everything. He even got 5th in the long jump and 2nd in the triple jump. How many guys that can run like him, the longer sprints, also can triple jump 47 feet. It's pretty crazy, the repertoire that William Holdensteiner has, and that's how you get your way to the Big Ten. Treasure State Stars, probably presented by Parkside Credit Union. Treasure State Star number 3. He was the Frontier Conference Men's Basketball Player of the Year this last year. Averaged almost 20 points per game for Carroll College. Well, now he's the latest small school standout to head to the Division I ranks. Isaiah Crane from Carroll is headed to Montana State. I know that this is something that has been a big point of consternation for the Frontier Conference coaches. Are they running a farm system for the Cats and the Grizz? It hasn't happened that prevalently yet, but I wouldn't be surprised. Paige Wasson from the Rocky Mountain Girls, she's from Whitewater, middle of nowhere, northeastern Montana. If she's getting D1 looks, that would not surprise me at all after being an NAI All-American. But it's the same thing with Isaiah Crane. He's from Portland. Got overlooked by Division I teams, but then he came to Carroll, averaged 20 a game last year for the Saints. Now he's headed to Montana State. I think it's a good fit for Matt Logie's squad. You can say whatever you want about Logie recruiting a guy off of a Frontier roster in state. As I always say, don't hate the player, hate the game. But that's just sort of where we're at. And I think it's a good move by Matt Logie. Again, you can feel bad for Carroll. If you're Carroll's coaching staff, I'm sure you're furious about this, but what can you do? Again, Matt Logie didn't make the rules. He's just playing by the rules of the game that we live in here today. Thursday star number 4, Tommy McMillan. He's the latest Great Falls product to make a huge breakout performance on the international MMA scene. McMillan beat Manola Zekini by TKO in a featherweight bout at UFC 115 in Las Vegas over the weekend. McMillan was a 3-time state champion wrestler at Great Falls High, and I believe this was his not MMA debut, but his UFC debut. McMillan said after the fight, "I just believed this was going to happen since I was a little kid. I've seen it so vividly and so clearly since I was in 3rd grade. I'm blessed to be surrounded by the best team in the world." McMillan's trained by Tim Welch, who's also trained Sugar Sean O'Malley. O'Malley was in McMillan's corner, so this was a Montana contingent there. They all train at the Red Hawk Academy, which was founded by Welch. It's located in Scottsdale, Arizona. But it's just pretty cool that Tim Welch has been able to craft now 2 guys from Montana, O'Malley from Helena and McMillan from Great Falls, that have made it to the highest level of mixed martial arts and are fighting in the octagon in the UFC in Las Vegas. That's pretty badass. It's pretty sweet. Thursday Stars probably presented by Parkside Credit Union. Parkside Credit Union, the best place in western Montana to get a loan, because Parkside Credit Union loves to say yes. The best of the best when it comes to track and field. There's only been a few meets so far as we sit here on April 7th, but I'll just point out a couple marks that I thought were pretty impressive. Wesley Arrett, who's a Grizz football signee from Belgrade, he's got the fastest 100-meter time in the state of Montana so far. He ran 11.09, so that bodes well for a guy of his frame. He's about 6'2", 195, a guy that the Grizz are really, really high on. Garrett Prather, a sprinter from Columbus, he's off to a great start as well. He's got the fastest 100-meter time in Class B at 11.21 and the fastest 200-meter time in the state so far at 22.54, Other impressive times, Owen Thiel of Glacier, the first boy to go under 2 minutes in the 800 meters. He went 157 and change. So that's a good start to his year. David Giulianardo from Polson, he's the fastest 3,200-meter runner so far, 9 minutes, 37 seconds. Kellen Kruger, we mentioned him last week, but this would have been a state record if he would have done this at the state meet, but he ran 13.66 seconds. He's a Weber State-bound athlete who is a senior right now at Missoula Big Sky. But Kruger, 13.66. I mean, that beats the state record by what? Almost half a second, if that's run at the state meet. 14.14 is the state record. 13.66, Kellen Kruger's time in the debut meet for Missoula Big Sky last week. Kruger also the first guy to go under 40 seconds in the 300-meter hurdles. He went 39.6, which is also a really, really impressive mark early on here in the year. Luke Allen, first guy over 14 feet in the pole vault. He's from Great Falls. That's a super good mark. Riley McGrath from Bowes-McGalton. Huge shot put, 61 feet, 3.5 inches. That is going to be out in front of everybody in the state. Anybody over 50 this time of year is impressive, let alone over 60. McGrath also has got the top discus throw in the state at 187 feet, 6 inches. So he's a guy that is going to be tough to chase down for people at the AA level. And let's see on the girls' side, Emery Peel from Billings Senior, the fastest 100-meter time so far in the state, 12.23. So that's certainly one worth noting. Peyton Frame from Miles City, first girl to go under a minute in the 400 meters, 59.86 is her best time early on here. That's about it for the crazy girls' track marks early on here. Calla Sprecher of Bozeman went 18.4 in the long jump, so that's a really impressive mark early on. Gabby Alec Rebelito from Big Sky went 35 feet, 4.5 inches in the triple jump. That's the top mark in the state so far. And we've got a couple girls over 12 feet so far in the pole vault. Addison Smith of Great Falls, Morgan Kindop of Sydney. The 12.4.5 from Kindop of Sydney is the top mark in the state of Montana. So we'll give you more best of the best when it comes to track and field, but that is our Church State Stars. It's probably presented by Parkside Credit Union. Parkside Credit Union, a great place in western Montana to get a loan because Parkside Credit Union loves to say yes. Up against it here, but it is a Tuesday. It means it's a Tag Tuesday, probably presented by Taglieri Deli. We'll give you another chance on the other side, too, so just keep the text coming in. 406-888-1029. You want $25 to tag Deli? We got it for you. 406-888-1029. Text us. Let us know. $25 is good for the sandwiches, but it's also good for their Italian-style market. You need some olive oil. You need some wine. You need some pasta sauces. They got it all. Tag Tuesday, every Tuesday here on Nuanez Now. 406-888-1029. Keep those texts coming in. And we'll give you another chance on the other side as well. Hour one of the books, hour two coming at you. We got some Masters talk. We got some recruiting talk. We got some spring football talk. And we got some NBA talk. Jam-packed. Hour number two coming your way. Don't change that dial. Keep it right here. 102.9 ESPN Radio.
Life can change in an instant. If you've been hurt in an accident, suffered from medical negligence, or are facing criminal charges, you don't have to face it alone. At Ryan Miller & Coburn, we're here to listen and fight for you. We're your neighbors, traveling across Montana to stand by your side as your link to justice. Real people, real help, right here in Montana. Ryan Miller & Coburn, your Montana attorneys.
DeMorris Buick GMC is ready to help you safely travel Montana's scenic roads in comfort and style. Stop by DeMorris today and test drive some outstanding SUVs. Right now, take advantage of closeout pricing on the exceptionally designed 2024 Buick Envision with models starting at $39,795. Don't miss this opportunity. Go to DeMorris.com to preview our inventory of 2024 Buick Envisions and then pay a visit to DeMorris Buick GMC on West Broadway in Missoula, your family-owned hometown dealership for over 60 years.
Life's about the journey, not the destination, right? Why can't it be about both?
This station.
ESPN Radio for Western Montana, KKVU HD3 Stevensville, and 102.9 FM on K275BS Missoula. ESPN Missoula Sports Center.
The transfer portal continued to churn for basketball teams at the University of Montana. I'm Jeff Safford. For the Grizz men's basketball team, starting point guard Grant Kepley is the latest player to enter the portal. He follows first-team all-conference pick Money Williams and reserve spark plug Brooklyn Hicks, who each announced their intentions to enter the portal last week. Kepley, a former transfer from Western Washington, started in 21 of 28 games played. Chase Williams, a seldom-used guard from Iowa, also entered the portal last week. Montana also graduates Tajon Sawyer, and Trey Taylor. For the Lady Grizz, ESPN MT reported last month that 6 players have been invited back to the roster entering Nate Harris's second season. All Big Sky forward Avery Waddington, along with Jocelyn Land, Kennedy Gillette, Abby Schubert, Ray Ehrman, and Asa Cosette have been offered roster spots for next year. Of the players not invited back, Drea Wacker, Macy Duransky, and Audrea Lincoln have officially entered the portal. The Montana State women had its first entry over the weekend. Gracie Hintz, whose aunts were Hall of Famers at Montana State in the early 90s, announced her entry over the weekend. She played sparingly as a freshman. The Montana State men's basketball team announced last week that they would retain every returning player on their roster.
It's Nuanez Now on 102.9 ESPN Missoula. Watch the show statewide on SWX Montana Television.
Welcome back. 102.9 ESPN Radio, SWX Montana Television, and the ESPN MT app. Colter Nuanez coming to you through the Grizzly Disposal Studio here at the Missoula Broadcasting Company. Missoula Broadcasting, locally owned and operated, as is Grizzly Disposal. Grizzly Disposal has construction roll-off boxes for your construction project. They can get them to you within 24 hours. Don't wait days or even weeks. Grizzly Disposal has them in stock and get them to you fast. Visit grizzlydisposal.com or call 406-541-7171. Grizzly Disposal, the only Bears that should be in your garbage. Missing in the first hour of the show, we talked Michigan winning the NCAA tournament with a ugly but effective 69-63 win over UConn. We also talked about the continued spinning of the portal, even since Jeff Safford kept that Sports Center. Talking about Grant Kepley and Tyler Isaac leaving the Grizz. Caden Betts also into the portal now. So just 4 guys coming back for Grizz basketball. Should be a sort of a new chapter for the Grizz after they had a very uneven year, but certainly a surge at the end of the year to get themselves into the tournament championship game for the 7th time in 11 years. We also talked about our latest Treasure State Stars, some of the best individual performances for the state of Montana. We also talked about a couple of the out-of-state, well, I guess, Montanans who went to college out-of-state who are now into the portal as well, specifically Paige Loafing, Harley Project Product, who is now leaving Gonzaga. She's in the portal, as well as Fisher Brown, who's from Lewistown, but had played at Western Carolina. He's now into the portal as well. So we talked about that and what it means to just the recruiting landscape here in the state of Montana. All of it on the podcast, which is available on all your various podcast hosting platforms. Please rate, review, subscribe. It really helps us out if you do so. All right, let's do a prep extra. This recruiting style, usually we just highlight the results of what's going on, but we've only had like 1 or 2 track meets, so we have hardly any track stuff to cover. Softball's just getting going right now, too, so we don't have any crazy prep results for the spring sports season yet. But recruiting is churning in the football world. Our Prep Extra probably presented by Farmers State Bank. Make the switch to Farmers State Bank, and you instantly become part of something bigger, something different, something more. That's because Farmers State Bank is a community bank. That means local banking, local decision-making, local support for the people, businesses, and communities that you care about. Switch to local. Switch to Farmers State Bank. Dylan Almquist, the latest to commit to the Grizz football team. He comes from a Montana family that has a lot of sports lineage. I believe it's his grandfather, Denny, was a teacher at Big Sky and also a coach at Big Sky. When I was young in high school, he, I believe, had a cup of coffee in the NFL. Yeah, okay. I just pulled up his bio here from the University of Idaho. Grew up in Mullen, Idaho. Played football for the University of Idaho. Started as a freshman. He was an 11th round draft pick by the San Francisco 49ers. Picked up by Saskatchewan, but then he ended up just going into coaching. Coached at Wallace High School. Coached at Twin Falls High School. Anyways, his son Guy is the longtime Helena Capital basketball coach, and. Katie Almquist is now Katie Lazovich, but she's in there somewhere too. She's a longtime volleyball coach here in the state of Montana as a prep volleyball coach. So the Almquist got a name in Montana, certainly. Well, Drew Almquist is regarded by most as the top prospect in the state of Montana, even though he missed most of last year. Helena Capital's state championship 2 years ago when Almquist was a sophomore, and then their struggles last year where they missed the playoffs is much chronicled, certainly. First of all, it's always a story in Montana when Helena Capital is a state champion. It's always also almost always a story when Helena Capital doesn't even qualify for the state playoffs. Capital's got one of the best programs in the state. Some would argue the best program in the state. They've won 13 state championships. That's tied for the most ever at the Class AA level. So they have the chops, the recruiting lineage. And just the program lineage, right? But they've always had some great players. Well, Drew Almquist getting hurt the second game of the year last year, that's an undertold part of why Helena Capital struggled. They had some, other sort of veteran issues, like they had so many guys move on from that state championship team, so they had a little bit of a hard time replacing them. They were in search of a quarterback, but Drew Almquist being the top playmaker for the team, getting hurt, that held him back, no doubt. Well, now, even with him being out, though, I mean, again, he only played in 2 games. I think he had 5 catches. That hadn't really hurt his recruiting because his track times have been so good, and he had such good numbers when he was a sophomore. He had 927 yards from scrimmage, 13 total touchdowns as a sophomore on that state championship team. So that production, plus the fact that he ran a 10.9 flat in the 100 meters, are 2 factors, and he's 6'1", 175 pounds, that make him one of the highest rated players in Montana right now. Well, he gave his verbal commitment to the Grizz over the weekend, and I think this is the biggest recruiting splash the Grizz have made. I do know that the Almquist family has always leaned Grizz, but I do also know that Dylan Almquist has been recruited. Drew Almquist has been. Dylan Almquist currently plays at Montana Tech. He's Drew's older brother. But Drew Almquist was recruited really, really, really hard by Montana State. He had been on a visit there. He was. I know that they were impressed with what they saw at Montana State. Obviously, Montana State's the defending national champs. Drew Almquist also has had offers from Oregon. I mean, he has an offer from Oregon State. He's got interest from Boise State, from Washington. Nebraska has been on the trail a little bit as well. So, I mean, he's like an FBS quality guy. So I think that, again, all the credit in the world to Bobby Kennedy and his staff for getting a lot of the guys in the western part of the state. 3 guys from Missoula in Eli Casper, Quincy King, Sam Sermon. Casper and King from Big Sky and Sermon from Sentinel. Good job, but you got to get those guys for the Grizz no matter what. But they did, so, I mean, taking care of business. Cooper Pelk, legacy kid, father played for the 2001 national champion Grizz. He's from Kalispell Glacier. Also a good get, but you got to get him, right? You have to have that guy. You got to get that guy in the boat. I do think that, again, Almquist maybe leans... the Almquist family maybe leans a little bit Grizz, but this guy was a swing guy who had already been, he's already been in contact with, already been on campus at Montana State, but also he's got an interest outside the state as well. I think this is the biggest recruit of the Bobby Kennedy era so far. The Cats, though, are not rolling over and dying. They're certainly fighting the good fight. Even though the Grizz have the 6 early commits, the Cats are recruiting heavily. Cannon Richmond, who's the quarterback / athlete from Three Forks, That's a guy from right up the road. I know the Grizz are in on him heavily as well. He also has offers from UTEP, Nevada, some interest from NDSU, San Diego State. This kid's a great athlete. I know everybody, all the schools in the state are on Steele Harris as well, but he looks like a guy that's going to go out of state. He has offers now from Wisconsin, Arizona State, Utah, Iowa State, plus, of course, the Montana schools. What I'm getting at is there's a whole bunch of guys that I think are some of the best guys in Montana that are still up for grabs. The guys the Grizz got are all good guys, but I think Almquist is the headliner of those guys. That's the first true we won this battle. I know Kasperg and King both had offers from the Cats as well, so that's a good win for the Grizz, no question. But Almquist is a swing guy in a swing town. He could have gone either way, or he could have gone out of state. So again, you still have to sign these guys. But I think to get him in the boat is a good thing. I think that's a good get for the Grizz, optics-wise and otherwise. But there's going to be heavy war still for Lane Humphrey, who's the linebacker from Billings West. He was our vertical raise Class AA Player of the Year last year on defense. Walker Olson is another guy out of Billings West who's like a receiver/safety. He's getting recruited hard by both Montana State, and also Utah State. He's a really good one. Cade Lebrand from Laurel is another guy who's got interest from both sides. He's a really good player. Gunnar Larson from Billings Central is the next guy who is from the Rams program that could get a shot to go be a playmaker on the outside. There's a lot of guys that are, Titan Sebastian from East Helena is another one. Leighton Erickson from Saco, he got offered by the Cats today. He's a 6'4", 200-pound tight end that I think has a lot of upside. Cade Hudma from Glasgow, he's another guy who's a project type, but a 6'7", 260-pound tackle out of Glasgow. There's a lot of guys that are still up for grabs. I think the state of Montana is a good class right now. And I think that the battles are going to continue. Again, great job by the Grizz for getting some of these guys in the boat, but I think there's going to be some wars. I expect it's going to be a really hard recruiting battle between Montana and Montana State for Canada Richmond, unless he goes out of state, the Three Forks product. Lane Humphrey, same deal. I think these two schools are going to be at war for this guy for a while. Walker Olson, same thing. So I think we have some fun recruiting battles to cover. And the fact of the matter is, for a couple years, the Grizz weren't necessarily getting in those recruiting battles very often. Now they are. I think that's a great thing for the rivalry and for the University of Montana. Nuanez Now, Prep Extra, probably presented by Vertical Raise. Vertical Raise, the elite online fundraising platform. You want the biggest check for your high school sports organization, visit verticalraise406.com. Appreciate Vertical Raise for the continued support of all of our coverage of high school sports. Take a break, come back, talk some Masters on the other side. I'll change that dial, keep it right here. Marcus Gear, a Masters aficionado, in studio with me. That's next. Keep it right here. 129 ESPN Radio.
What do you expect me to say to her? She's getting married in 30 minutes.
We're doing everything we can.
John, can you hear me? John.
At Shields, we're anglers, endlessly seeking and refining techniques. We're hunters and storytellers, because we've been out there. We're experts that put products and gear to the test, so we can share that knowledge with you. At Shields, we understand your outdoor journey and the path you're on, because we walk it too, every step of the way. Shields, right there with you.
Mountain Town Vacation Rental Management, your local partner for vacation rental success. We provide a fully customized hosting experience tailored to your needs and goals. Your home is listed on every major site, helping you maximize visibility and bookings. And our local team is available 24/7 to handle guest needs and booking inquiries. Let us take the stress out of managing your vacation home. Contact us today at mountaintownvrm.com or give us a call at 406-369-3080.
The rare moments in life, they're they're not just few and far between. They're meant to be treasured.
Bring the whole family to the Stone of Accord for a wonderful brunch. From traditional comfort food to eclectic specials, there's something for everyone to enjoy. And it wouldn't be a proper Missoula brunch without an Irish coffee and a mimosa. The Stone of Accord, Irish fare with Montana flair. Restaurant, liquor store, and casino. At the Stone of Accord, we use the freshest ingredients to create our homemade traditional Irish classics, fresh salads, and creative specials. Come enjoy our warm, family-friendly atmosphere. The Stone of Accord, Irish fare with Montana flair. Restaurant, liquor store, and casino.
Transfer portal continued to churn for basketball teams at the University of Montana. I'm Jeff Safford. For the Grizz men's basketball team, starting point guard Grant Kepley is the latest player to enter the portal. He follows first-team all-conference pick Money Williams and reserve spark plug Brooklyn Hicks, who each announced their intentions to enter the portal last week. Kepley, a former transfer from Western Washington, started in 21 of 28 games played. Chase Williams, a seldom-used guard from Iowa, also entered the portal last week. Montana also graduates Tajon Sawyer and Trey Taylor. For the Lady Grizz, ESPN MT reported last month that 6 players have been invited back to the roster, entering Nate Harris's second season. All Big Sky forward Avery Waddington, along with Jocelyn Land, Kennedy Gillette, Abby Schubert, Ray Ehrman, and Asa Cosette, have been offered roster spots for next year. Of the players not invited back, Drea Wacker, Macy Duransky, and Audrea Lincoln have officially entered the portal. The Montana State women had its first entry over the weekend. Gracie Hintz, whose aunts were Hall of Famers at Montana State in the early 90s, announced her entry over the weekend. She played sparingly as a freshman. The Montana State men's basketball team announced last week that they would retain every returning player on their roster.
This is Nuanez Now on 102.9 ESPN Radio Missoula.
Welcome back. Well, tonight, ESPN Radio, SWX Montana Television, and the ESPN MT app. Colter Nuanez coming to you through the Grizzly Disposal Studio. We love you so much. We're doubling the fun. We've always had a Masters segment. We're going to do 2 this year because why not? It's that time of year, one of the best tournaments in all of sports, let alone in golf, coming down the pipe. Practice rounds, et cetera, start today and tomorrow, and then Thursday, balls in the air, and we'll have I think there's a lot of guys that can go out and maybe win this tournament, so it's going to be super fun to get into. Joined now by old friend of mine, but a new guest of the show, Marcus Gear, joining us. He is a golf pro up there at the Iron Horse Country Club in the Flathead Valley, and a guy that knows about as much about golf and follows it about as well as anybody. What's up, buddy? Good to see you. Thanks for being here.
Good to see you too, mate.
Appreciate you for coming down. Marcus has done a Masters pool forever and ever, and every time I see him, whenever we cross paths, that's all we talk about is golf. So I said, hey, let's get some segments on the radio this year. So first of all, you're one of the only guys I know that's played this course.
I haven't played it,
but you've walked it.
I took my dad down there in 2022 when Scotty Scheffler won it the first year, and it's just I tell everyone if you get one day down there, it's adult Disneyland. You just can't experience it. There's nothing out of place there. Everything's just top notch. It's a one of a kind experience. So it was fun to cross that bucket list off.
Yeah, it's a pretty good one. That course, I mean, we all know it's super challenging, but like actually being on the course, like what do you notice about it that just sets it apart?
So the first part is everyone says it, and the TV doesn't do it justice, is the undulation of the golf course is insane. You could put the 10th hole up there, and you could put it on Snowball right now, and it's just that much of a slope, and just the lies. There's not really a flat lie out there, and it makes the ball move a lot more than it normally should. But I just remember walking around and looking at all the greens, and you're just going, "This is unbelievable." And they don't tell you the green speeds. They just have what they call tournament speed.
Tournament speed, right?
And that's it. And so you don't know. Us being golfers, we can kind of guess, but we never really know.
Like, what do you think it's playing at? Like, for those that are maybe amateur golfers or people that golf around Western Montana, if you're playing like a normal public course, what, like 8 to 10 is the general green speed?
So when we're at up in the Flathead Valley, we're usually running about an 11, 11 and a half,
right.
maybe a 12 if one gets busy or fast. I have a feeling they're probably running around a 13.
Yeah, I mean, and just glass flying,
and you just don't know how much undulation there are on that greens, and it's just unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, the greens are huge. It's what makes the course so challenging. But I mean, as Marcus said, the other part you don't realize is, I mean, these guys are walking from Tuesday on, and I mean, you're talking ups and downs, so many steps.
It's a very, very tough walk, and I thought it was like, I'm in decent shape. I can figure this out. And we did the first practice round Monday, and it was exhausting. Yeah. Absolutely exhausting. And I'm like, crap, I got 2 more days of this. But everything they do there is just, it's first class. Hopefully going to get back there soon.
Well, certainly a dream for all of us to go to Augusta National, no doubt. One argument we had in my group text, Marcus Gear, by the way, golf pro up at the Iron Horse Country Club up in the Flathead, joining us here, talking all things Masters. One thing we were arguing about, and I have a Masters group text where we have like a pool, and we were talking about what would you shoot like at Augusta. Marcus, I mean, what's your handicap right now? You got to be a plus, right?
I'm a +1.
I mean, he shot a 67 when last time he golfed. So normal people that are shooting, in the 80s all the time, in the 90s all the time. What do you think, like an average, like 8 to 10 handicapper shooting at Augusta? Are we even finishing?
I think you and I had this conversation one time, and I think your brother chimed in and said, I think he said he was like an 8 or 9 handicapper, and he said, and very confidently, he said, I break 90 at Augusta, and I said, I'll take my entire bank account on the fact that you do.
It was another guy that was with us, certainly, because my brother and I are on the same thing. We're shooting 125 at the very least.
I'm a scratch golfer, and I think I struggle breaking 90, all because of the greens.
Right.
You have certain spots that you have to hit, otherwise it's an automatic three putt.
At least.
At least. So the rough. They don't call it the rough. They call it the second cut down there.
Right.
And then you have the pine straw. And there's no real out of bounds out there, which is, for most average golfers, is fantastic. But you have to deal with the wind. You have to deal with the gallery.
Right.
And then you have to deal with the lightning fast greens and everything that has to go with it. And plus, it's a tough enough walk as it is. So, yeah. A 10 handicapper, I'm guessing he probably shoots about a $110, $112.
Yeah, right. I mean, you're having a hard time actually even getting through it. I mean, you might run out of ball. Like you say, no out of bounds. So it's not like the U.S. Open where you might be losing a ball every other hole. But still, it's going to be a hard, challenging trek. Okay, so let's get into the field here then. One of the best stories in golf in recent years, really, was Rory McIlroy getting over the top last year, winning his first green jacket. What do you think is the biggest challenge for Rory? I know you were watching his press conference. He said he seems pretty loose. So what's the biggest challenge for him coming into this week?
Being too loose? Is that a thing? Like he just seems. It just seems like there's a weight lifted off his shoulders. Winning, I think. The only problem I would have with him is he did struggle through the Players with his back. Mm-hmm. So that's about the only thing I can say. But he loves that golf course. He knows it well. He had several top fives before he won last year.
Definitely.
So he's definitely one to be. I didn't see the actual odds, but I can't figure he's far off the top 3 or 4 for best odds.
So we'll do a shout out to Sportsbet Montana because I have the odds right in front of me here. Our good friends at Sportsbet Montana cover all of our spring sports coverage from the NBA playoffs to the Masters to the Stanley Cup playoffs as well. We'll have full major championship coverage for you all summer long as well, courtesy of Sportsbet. So here's what the odds look like. Scottie Scheffler, the number 1 player in the world, he has been for couple years now. He's the overwhelming betting favorite. He's at 4.5 to 1. John Rahm is number 2 at 8 to 1. Bryson DeChambeau number 3 at 9 to 1, and Rory McIlroy comes in at number 4 at 10 to 1.
How about Scotty Scheffler not getting talked about at all this week?
How wild is that, right?
Just number 1 player in the world going through. Just had his second young boy, and no one's talking about him. And then all of a sudden you're just like, oh yeah, he's 4.5, 5 to 1. Great.
Why do you think it is people aren't talking about Scotty as much? You think it's because they've gotten so used to the consistency?
Yeah, absolutely. He doesn't do anything outrageous. His short game's top 3 in the game, but if you're on tour, you have a phenomenal short game. But his is the upper echelon. But yeah, just thinking 4 to 1, no one's talking about him, no anything like that, and then all of a sudden he could slip on his third green jacket in 4 years.
Yeah, it's amazing that we have sort of become numb to the consistency. It's interesting because people wanted to compare him to Tiger at first. And
no one's getting compared to Tiger.
That's right.
We lived through prime Tiger, and it was insane.
It's as dominant as an athlete of any sport has ever been. There's no question about it. And Scotty's not that same level of intimidation or dominance, but the consistency is the part that's just so unreal.
He's so boring because he just hits the fairway, hits the green to 15, 18 feet. Hopefully he rolls in the putt, and if not, he's upset for a half a second, then he walks to the next tee box and just tries to do the exact same thing over and over again. And you're going to win a lot of tournaments shooting 4 consecutive 68s.
Indeed you are, right?
I mean, it's just one of those nice things to see him. And yeah, he's definitely going to be one of my picks for sure for this tournament.
Do you feel like, back to Rory McIlroy, do you feel like he has a bunch of pressure coming into repeat, or is the pressure gone now that he actually got the monkey off his back?
I think he's got more pressure for the Champions Dinner tonight than he does for anything else.
Totally.
So then, I mean, I don't know if he's going to do the par 3 tomorrow, but everything else, it looks like he looks as calm as ever. And it's the only issue I have with him is his back going to hold up for 4 days? But he's young enough. I think he can pull it off.
Yeah, it's interesting where he's at just in terms of the legacy, right? Because he busted through and was the next prodigy, and he wins all these majors when he was so young, and then he was always in the mix, always in the top 10, but he couldn't win one. But then he got the monkey off his back to complete the career Grand Slam and sort of gets back on the major track. When Tiger was this age, we thought Tiger was going to win 10 or 15 more, and he ended up only actually getting 1 or 2 more in his late 30s, early 40s. How many do you think Rory's got left in him?
If he stays healthy, and obviously Tiger never stayed healthy, Tiger would have at least 23, 24 majors.
Oh, yeah. Don't you think Rory has a better chance to stay healthy, though, just because he's not
100%.
It's not as violent of a swing. He's not as big of a
Well, he's
guy.
a lot... being 5'9" helps a little bit too.
It
so
definitely helps. Way less wear and tear. I mean, Tiger's 6'2", 200 pounds. I mean, he's a huge dude.
Yeah, Tiger. Yeah, training with the Navy SEALs didn't help him. It didn't do any cause. I love Rory. I don't think he's going to be back to back. Only 3 other people have done it. So I don't think he's going to do it. But if he's in contention on Sunday, I'm not going to be shocked.
He's playing well right now, too. So how much, when you're thinking about the field, how much do you credit that? I mean, the Masters is early. It's the first major. So these guys have been playing only for a couple months in terms of real grinding out the competition-style golf. How much do you look at the recent tournaments in terms of sort of gauging performance?
I love looking at the players.
Players championship.
And weirdly enough, who's number 3 in the world is Cam Young.
Right.
And he has a sneaky good track record at Augusta, too. Weirdly enough, the last 2024 and 2025, the person who won the Players won the Masters.
Sure.
So, what that speaks for him, it's probably not far off. But I like looking at people who hit a lot of greens, and I love good putters. So, it's funny. We all envy Scotty for his driving and his iron play especially. And if he has a halfway decent putting week, he's going to win the stupid thing.
Right, no doubt. But, that's one of the other differences, right? I mean, for Scotty Scheffler, he's so consistent, but also he only has to putt decent to be in the mix. If he putts well,
he's going to win by 5.
Yeah, he's running away with it, right?
I love good people and good putters and just good short game. You don't realize how tight that golf course is, especially around the greens, and the hard approach shots / chips you have to around that golf course, especially if you put yourself in the wrong spot. And you have to, my buddy in Scottsdale and I, we always used to say, you have to get up and down from garbage.
Right.
And they can do it. So I love people with great short games. They don't have to hit it. You don't have to hit it long out there because, especially with the weather this week, it's supposed to be 75 and sunny every day. So it's going to get hot, it's going to get firm, and the balls are just going to be bouncing on the fairways. So you don't have to be long, but you definitely need to put the ball in play, that's for sure.
Marcus, you're talking all things Masters with us, probably presented by Sportsbet Montana. Well, how about DeChambeau then? Because, I mean, his length is one of his biggest advantages. I don't think that matters as much at Augusta, though, right?
It helps if you're in the right spot, and it helps especially on certain fairways. 2 comes to mind, 5 comes to mind, sure. 8, the par 5 comes to mind. Yep. You just need to be on the right side of the fairway to get into those holes, especially. He gets loose with his irons, and with how much he works on it, and I think he takes too much of the art of putting out of it, and he's too damn mechanical, and I don't like it. For him, it works, and that's great. But there needs to be some sort of. It looks too robotic.
Totally.
And good for him and doing it, but I just can't figure that out.
What do you make of Rahm? Because John Rahm was knocking on the door of being an all-time great, and I still think he's got that talent, and he's still sort of in the mix for that. But ever since the LIV fiasco, he's been sort of just in and out of it. But I mean, second in the betting.
Well, he's been killing it on LIV this year, but he hasn't won on LIV this year.
Right.
I have an absolutely funny story about Rahm. I played against Rahm in Scottsdale right as he got out of ASU.
Wow.
And
this was before he made it big on the tour.
When I was living in Scottsdale, I knew about him.
Sure. Because he'd been a great golfer in college.
ASU just stud, wins everything, and so I played with him. And at the time, I was a scratch golfer, but I wasn't playing every day really at all. And we get on the first tee, and he says, "How many shots do you want?" And I was like, okay, I'm a 0. I'm a bad 0, but I'm a 0. I said, how's 8 sound? And he shook out his hand. He said, couldn't have done it fast enough. I said, yes, absolutely. And I played decently, and I lost by 11. And I'm just like, oh, I'm not that good at golf at all.
Yeah, this is the difference. This is the difference between a golf pro and a guy who's one of the best in the world.
What I've noticed about him, even when he was 23, is he had the best set of hands I've ever seen and the best short game I've ever seen.
Yeah.
He made a 63 look about as easy as possible.
Yeah.
And, yeah, it was...
So what does he need to do? Because his talent is undeniable. Like, what does he need to do to get back on the major track?
He's long, he's straight. He's won there.
He has, for sure.
It's for him, it's all about can he put his irons where he needs to. He's always had a phenomenal short game. He's always been a good putter. It's his iron game sometimes lets him down, and that's his nemesis if he has one. But he's always going to putt well out there, and he's always going to play well. Spaniards have done pretty well at Augusta.
Yes, they have. There's been several Spanish Masters champions. Marcus here joining us here in studio. What about Oberg? Ludwig Oberg is the guy that
doesn't he have the prettiest swing in the world?
I mean, I like being me. If there's one guy other than me that I could be, it'd be Oberg. I mean, he's 6'3". He's got the perfect swing you ever seen. Yeah. He's good looking, sweet.
Everything but 2 swings down in TPC Sawgrass. He's winning the thing.
Man.
But God, I absolutely love him. He has a pretty good track record too at Augusta, 2nd and 7th, and it would have been higher last year had he not cropped the bet on the 18th hole. But I love and I looked at his grouping today. He's playing with Rahm and Chris Gotterup. That's going to be a fun.
That's a great group.
Great group for him. He's on my short list for people. I absolutely love him. His swing is great, and going to college at Texas Tech, he can play in the wind if it gets windy out there, firm, fast. So, if he has that one bad swing that kind of unfortunately takes him out of it, but if he can keep it kind of even keel for 72 holes, he's going to be right there on Sunday.
Do you think he has the gusto to win it? Like, could he?
Absolutely. I mean, he's won at some tough places too. He won at a Torrey.
Yep, he did
a couple years ago. That might be the hardest golf course I've ever played. But he just makes it look so easy, and he smashes the golf ball.
Yes.
And it looks a lot like Ernie Els' swing. You don't think he's swinging hard at all, and all of a sudden it's just a missile going right down the middle of the fairway.
I mean, his 2-iron game is as good as anybody, because hardly anybody even hits a 2-iron anymore.
It's incredible.
I mean, he can hit 285-yard darts with a 2-iron. I mean,
and he doesn't need to, but if he needs to, he'll take that sucker out and go. It's impressive to watch. I have. If I'm at a golf tournament, he's there. I'm going to be standing there watching him and just be in awe.
He's a sight to behold. If you've not checked out Aberg yet, he's awesome. He and Xander Schauffele are the two in fifth place for the betting favorites. Then you go to Matthew Fitzpatrick, Cam Young, who Marcus mentioned is playing as well as anybody, number 3 in the world right now. Tommy Fleetwood at number 9 in the betting favorites, and then the old reliable Justin Rose. You got to throw him somewhere in the top 10, even if he's nowhere close to the top 10 of the world rankings, because he just always finds a way to play big in majors.
Well, he's actually in the top 10 right now.
Is he? Because he's making a resurgence, man. He's been great the last 2 years.
You know, unfortunately, he's lost out in playoffs now twice at Augusta. So, you know, you think of all the guys who have played well there, and you know, the older you get, the more you know that golf course. So you can see him, Adam Scott. You know, Freddie was playing well into his 50s there.
Yes.
You know, all the old timers there, they play pretty darn well there just because they know that golf course. You know where to not have to go take your medicine, right? 100%. You know, and even he's older than me. You and I are the same age, and Gary Woodland's 41, and I mean, that might have been the best story of the entire year.
How about that? For those that didn't follow along here, Gary Woodland was looking like a rising star. He won the U.S. Open, and then he got this horrible brain tumor.
Yeah.
Had to have surgery, and he was down and out. Everybody thought his career was over. It was just a miracle he even survived.
Yeah.
Well, he came back and won a couple weeks ago. First win in several years.
One in Houston, and I may or may not have shed a tear when he won.
It's a pretty cool story, man.
But, I mean, you look at him and they said last week or 2 weeks ago when he was playing down in Houston, he said he was averaging 191 ball speed, and I'm averaging 175, 176, and I'm not the shortest of hitters, and he can move a golf ball. He's absolutely fantastic. One of the best stories on tour right now, and I hope he plays well there. I really do. He's a fun one to be around and just watch.
Yeah, I mean, he's an awesome story and an awesome talent for sure. JJ Spawn won last week. Does that play into this? Do you think he has a chance to carry some momentum?
It'll help him. He's just been too inconsistent right now.
Ever since he won the major, it's been up and down.
But that's a heck of a place to win your first major at Oakmont. It's not a bad spot to win. And those greens are pretty tough out there too. It definitely going to help a lot. You play all those 4 days down in San Antonio, and then you immediately have to hop on a flight to go to Augusta. I just think that can kind of take the wind out of your sails, even though you did win.
Big names in the field that have been sort of struggling to find some consistency include Jordan Spieth, Brooks Koepka, Justin Thomas. Do you believe in any of those guys this week?
Sneaky feeling on Jordan.
Yeah, because of the putting, right?
That's the thing. He hasn't been putting well at all this year,
right?
And he's consistently top 10 to top 25, and he has made nothing.
Right.
And so you're kind of looking, he loves Augusta, he loves those greens, and his driving and irons have been absolutely fantastic, and I can only imagine what would happen if he would just make a putt or two. So,
but if he gets hot, I mean,
he gets
his
hot.
putter can get as hot as anybody in the world.
If he gets hot, he's going to start making 30-footers look like 4-footers, especially out there. He's a sneaky one.
What, Koepka?
I think he's still trying to get through everything from coming back from LIV. I'm happy he's back. He's an absolute talent, and I'm really, really happy he's back on the PGA Tour full time. Just too inconsistent right now. But he loves the majors, so there's always that to play with.
If he put himself in the mix late in the majors, he's got the mindset too.
Absolutely,
right?
Yeah. He's won 5 majors. So
he just has to put himself in position on Thursday and Friday, though. He's a guy that can go shoot.
He doesn't have to put himself there. He just has to not put a big number out. Put a big number up there.
That's been the thing with him in majors lately. Has been sometimes he'll go shoot 79, but if he just shoots 72, he could be in the mix coming into the weekend.
I think Justin Thomas has the same thing that Rory had for all these times. Is he loves Augusta so much, and I think he's trying too hard to win it. But I just love the one thing I love about Justin Thomas is how creative he is on the tee box, on the greens. He has the very much artistic side of like Phil Mickelson-esque and Seve-esque kind of thing, where he can kind of make something out of nothing, and it's a lot of fun to watch.
Any other dark horses you got in the field this week?
I love Shane Lowry.
I
love Shane Lowry. Someone says, who's got the best short game on tour, and I said I have a hard time going against Lowry.
Yeah,
I absolutely love his short game. Not the longest guy on tour, but he's going to get it out there. And I love Corey Connors. Corey absolutely hits the center of the golf ball every time, and it's fun to watch. He took 5th last year, and he draws the ball, which you don't need to draw the ball anymore with the new balls. You used to have to with the old Bellata balls. You really had to turn the corners on 2 and 10 and 13. Not really anymore, but love Connors, and I love how just consistent he is with his irons. If you're a good iron player, consistently out there, you're going to play well.
Both those guys, spicy if you like them. Lowry 49-1 to win, Connors 59-1. But I mean, they're in the top 25 in terms of the overall odds. So certainly expected to be in the mix. You never know if you can go get a good start and put something together. You could definitely make a run at it. Anything else you want to add about this tournament?
It's the best 4 days of the year. I'm going to be sitting on my couch Sunday, watching every little piece of coverage I can with Amazon and Masters.org, and then when it goes on to CBS, it's just fantastic. I love that golf course. I love the tournament, and everything on Sunday happens, and I can't wait to see what's going to happen this year.
Well, I appreciate the insight, buddy. Thanks for coming down.
You bet, buddy. Happy to see you.
Nuanez Now tonight, ESPN Radio. Marcus Gear giving us his insight into the Masters. Andrew Schmidt will join us on Thursday. He'll give us a play-by-play of what's gone down so far on Thursday's round. And he's always a fun one to follow along on the social medias as well. For now, we'll take a break, though. Come back and talk about some Grizz football on the other side. Don't change that dial. Keep it right here. It's 129 ESPN Radio.
Bring the whole family to the Stone of Accord for a wonderful brunch. From traditional comfort food to eclectic specials, there's something for everyone to enjoy. And it wouldn't be a proper Missoula brunch without an Irish coffee and a mimosa. The Stone of Accord, Irish fare with Montana flair. Restaurant, liquor store, and casino. At the Stone of Accord, we use the freshest ingredients to create our homemade traditional Irish classics, fresh salads, and creative specials. Come enjoy our warm, family-friendly atmosphere. The Stone of Accord, Irish fare with Montana flair. Restaurant, liquor store, and casino.
Access to Montana's great backyard is the best part of being a Grizzly. At the University of Montana, our classrooms are the mountain peaks, river valleys, and never-ending plains of the Big Sky Country. We provide students with the hands-on training to protect and enjoy hunting, conservation, and stewardship. UM launches the careers of outdoor leaders so that they can protect our traditions and ensure they are passed down for future generations. Because what's made in Montana is remaking the world.
Why would any business let you use their product and give you 365 days of reassurance? Mattress Firm does because they believe in their mattresses. Save on top brands like Nectar, Tempur-Pedic, Beautyrest, Serta, Stearns & Foster, and others. Mattress Firm carries $149 mattresses all the way up to the luxury Purple Rejuvenate Premier. 0% in payments as low as $39 a month, along with 365 days of reassurance. See why Mattress Firm is Montana's best place to find the sleep you deserve.
Mattress Firm, where it's easy to get a great night's sleep.
Nuanez Now on ESPN Radio.
Welcome back. 1029 ESPN Radio, SWX Montana Television, and the ESPN MT app. Colter Nuanez coming to you through the Grizzly Disposal Studio here on Nuanez Now. Grizzly Disposal, locally owned, veteran owned, and the only Bears that should be in your garbage. Appreciate you for hanging. If you're missing the show, we talked NCAA title game, Michigan beating UConn. Talked about some in-state recruiting. Drew Almquist, head of the Grizz. I got another note on in-state recruiting here coming up in a minute. We also talked about some of the former Montana standouts, like Paige Loafing from Huntley Project, who's been at Gonzaga, and Fisher Brown from Lewistown, who's been at Western Carolina. They're both into the portal. Do they find their way back to Montana? We'll see. We also had our latest Treasure State Stars with some track results. We also talked with Marcus Gear, a golf pro at the Iron Horse Country Club and a guy that follows the PGA Tour about as much as anybody I know. He gave us his insight into the Masters. All of it on the podcast, probably available on all your various podcast hosting platforms. Please rate, review, subscribe, all that good stuff. One piece of confirmation, we reported last week Chris Kopp, associate head coach for the Grizz basketball team, was moving on to St. Mary's. He put out a sort of a thank you note / farewell note today, confirming this, that he was moving on to St. Mary's. But the end part, I think, is one of the key parts of this. He said, we're excited for a chance to go home to St. Mary's. He's from the Bay Area. And not only be closer to family, but also to join a storied program. This is not goodbye. It's a see you later. So he certainly will have massive interest. I think he will have interest in the University of Montana job if and when it comes open again. And Montana will probably have interest in him as well the next time the job comes open. So as the world turns, but that's been confirmed officially at the Chris Kopp headed to St. Mary's. I said I had one more recruiting tidbit. We talked about some of the battles. Drew Almquist committing to Montana is a big one, but Steele Harris from Great Falls High, he's still on the table, but he's got offers from Wisconsin, Arizona State, Utah, Iowa State, Michigan State. He's got all sorts of big-time offers. So do the Montana schools even have a chance? I'm not sure. But there's going to be huge battles for Cannon Richmond, the athlete from Three Forks, Lane Humphrey from Billings West, Walker Olson from Billings West, Gunnar Larson from Billings Central. I think all those guys are going to be highly coveted. But the Montana State did get an in-state commit over the weekend as well. Dax Yeager, who's a really good athlete out of Shodo, really raw. They project him as a tight end. He's 6'5", 235 pounds. Kid is a good basketball player. He's got a lot of athleticism. I think he's sort of a project in terms of where he's at now, but we've seen this a million times. You know, Class B kid with that sort of frame, you get him into a Division I program, I think the sky's the limit for him. I think that's a good get for Montana State. They also offered Leighton Erickson today. He's a tight end from Seiko. He goes about 6'4", 200. So I think both those guys have good frames. And Erickson could be, he's an 8-man guy, so he could be a tight end or a D end. I'm not sure. I think Yeager could actually be a D end as well. Just looking at his body and his explosiveness. He has a brother, I believe they're twins, Rush Yeager, Rush a lot thinner, 180 pounds. He's more of a receiver type. He's another guy that'll be, I think, a guy that both the Montana schools are in the mix for and maybe even battle it out as well. But the in-state recruiting battle, certainly the pendulum in Montana's court right now under Bobby Kennedy with the 6 commits, but the Cats do strike back a little bit, getting a commit, and that certainly is going to be something to watch, the way that the pendulum swings back and forth. It's Montana Pro Football Hall of Fame season. I did some interviews for my bios earlier today. We're also going to have Andre Patterson, who's a former Grizz player who then went on to coach in the NFL for a really long time. He'll be in studio with us next Wednesday. That'll be our ESPN Roundtable next week. But we'll certainly be highlighting some of these inductees. It's a fun class. Brock Coyle, one of the headlining members of the class. I'm profiling him. The other members of the class include Tim Rosenbaugh, who was a brief time was a standout at Missoula Hellgate before his father, who was a college coach, moved the family to Pullman, Washington. Rosenbaugh then went on to star at Washington State, and then he became an NFL draft pick by the Phoenix Cardinals, and he threw for more than 3,000 yards in the NFL early in his career. And then, of course, came back to Montana as the offensive coordinator in 2012 and then again in 2018. So he's had multiple stints in some capacity in Missoula, but he's one of our inductees this year. I mentioned Andre Patterson. Also, Tony Bodie from Montana State, standout running back for the Bobcats, 1979 to 1982. And then he played for the Los Angeles Express of the USFL. Rick Ogle, who was born and raised in Bozeman, went to Bozeman High, and then he went on to play for the University of Colorado, and then was a draft pick by the St. Louis Cardinals back in 1971. Not the baseball team, the football team. Ron Heller, who played at Penn State. He was selected in the 4th round, the NFL draft by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He's got a couple other ties to the state of Montana. He played football at Montana State. He worked at Montana State for a couple of years. He's in our contributing category. And then we have Rick Halmus going in. Rick has been the chairman of the board at the Montana Football Hall of Fame since it started. He's basically the founder of the Montana Pro Football Hall of Fame, a guy I've gotten to know well over the years with my involvement in it, and certainly a really cool deal. And then Ed Cummings is in the legacy category. Ed Cummings from Anaconda and played at Stanford. So we'll have more on these guys and interviews surrounding these guys over the next coming weeks, leading up to the Montana Pro Football Hall of Fame induction ceremony coming up in June. It's the last weekend of June. It's in Billings at the Billings Hotel and Events Center. So certainly if you can make it, I know Billings, a lot of our listeners right now are in Western Montana on the radio, but we also have listeners across the state of Montana that it's not nearly the trek that it is from Missoula to get to Billings. So if you can make it, please come. It's an awesome event. You can find tickets available at all the various Universal Athletic outlets across the state of Montana. And June 27th Saturday, June 27th is the evening of the banquet at the Billings Hotel and Convention Center. So please, if you'd like, you can go to mtfootballhof.com, or you can swing by Universal Athletic and find a place to get tickets. But if you can join us, please do join us. It's always a night to remember at the Montana Pro Football Hall of Fame, and should be another fun class to induct. Tomorrow, I can already tell you it's a great show because I already recorded the main segments. Samuel Kim inside the FCS will lead the show. We'll also hear from both the offensive and defensive coordinators for the Grizz football team, Eric Sanders, the DC, and Brent Pease, the OC. We'll get that all started at 4 p.m. tomorrow. This has been Nuanez Now. You're listening to 102.9 ESPN Radio.